Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Bandai Tamashii Nations S.H.Figuarts Eternals figure unboxing and review video. Now today we are taking a look at none other than Kingo himself, the final Figuarts Eternals release. Now, I don't exactly know why Bandai only made 3 out of a possible 10 characters. I'm hoping that they're working behind the scenes making the rest of the team, but for now, yeah, this is the last one we have to look at. The Marvel Legends review video of that entire wave with the team is coming up very soon on the channel. Now, if you are looking to get Kingo, he is available from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is, of course, down in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. What we are going to do now though is get the box laying flat in the light box and do the unboxing. Here of course we have the box art, and just like the other 2 Eternals figures we've already reviewed on the channel, we've got an open window showcasing Kingo himself, a silhouetted image done in his iconic purple, a product shot on the side, and a bunch more showcasing a few poses and his energy effect piece. Now, I am glad that S.H.Figuarts are actually giving us effect pieces, because if they didn't, these figures would be just a little bit more boring. I mean, a big part of the appeal for these Eternals characters is what they can do. So yeah, I'm super happy they decided to do that. First in-hand impressions for Kingo are fairly positive. I can already tell you I'm loving this vibrant purple. What we are going to do now though is get all of his accessories laid out in the light box and take a closer look and everything he comes with. Here we have all the parts and pieces. Now, starting off with the head sculpts, I really like the way they look. I can see the Kumail Nanjiani likeness here. I know that some people have already said online that it's not perfect, and I'm right there with you. It's not 100%, but I'd say it's a solid 90 to 95. I can tell exactly who it's supposed to be. I also love the very subtle cocked eyebrow that he's known to do, a little bit of a smirk as well, and you get 2 options, the regular head sculpt, which, as I said, I really like, or the one with the whited out eyes. I don't remember this actually happening in the movie whenever he used his powers, but maybe it did and I'm just misremembering. It's still a really neat option. Now, speaking of his powers, you get a blast effect. This actually isn't the one that I was expecting. I was more expecting an alternate hand with a little blast effect on the tip of his 2 fingers here, because that's what he was using 95% of the time in the movie, but this one is still cool too. It's got a big honkin' blast on one end, it's translucent in the center, then it wraps around his arm. You will see this on the figure a little bit later in the video. Now you also get some swap out hands, as you'd expect. You get his blasting gesture and also his open palm hands. I really do like the material that Figuarts are casting these hands out of. It has a semi-translucent and very flesh-looking appearance, so yeah, I'm a big fan of that. What we are going to do now though is get Kingo himself out here and take a closer look. Here we have him standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that, and this guy looks great, at least in my opinion, and I think that this might just be my favourite so far, but we'll address that again a little bit later in the video. I love the colours. The purple just pops, and then it's juxtaposed very nicely with the darker gunmetal grey and silver elements, and then there's the gold panel lining and detailing on the surface. Plus you have a really well-proportioned body and some fantastic head sculpts. So yeah, there's a lot to like here. What we are going to do now though is take him off the rotating turntable, punch in and take a closer look at the details. Here we have him up close and personal. Now for the most part I am very happy here. Is this my favourite of the line so far? Honestly, yeah. it definitely is. Now you may be sitting there thinking, Justin, I thought you said Cersei was your favourite, and yes, she was up until I started to take a look at this figure. I love the proportions. I also love the colour scheme. This gunmetal grey over the really vibrant purple, and then the gold pinstriping throughout, and by the way, all of that is painted gorgeously. It's very crisp, it's very clean, and the head sculpt is just icing on the cake. I love the expression. I can absolutely see Kumail in that head sculpt, as we discussed earlier. From pretty much every angle, it's spot on. And that little very subtle raised eyebrow is so very him. Now there's one complaint that I do have that's a carryover from the other Eternals releases, and it's the untextured, unpainted purple plastic. Just like the other figures, this guy is very smooth. In the film, there was a lot of texture and surface details over the top of the fabric, but here, it just simply isn't represented. Is that enough for you to say, this isn't for me? It could potentially be, but I can definitely get around that. One thing that I can't really get around though is the way they've done the skirts. I think these should have been made out of fabric. They are very thick and very sturdy, so you pretty much get almost no range out of the legs, at least usable range. Because let's be honest, what are you going to do with that, and what are you going to do with that? It literally springs straight back down. But overall, I think there's enough to love here that it can warrant picking up Kingo if you do want a high-end version of him for your shelf. Now, if you are curious what the second head sculpt option looks like on the body, here we have it, and for the most part it is the exact same sculpt, but this time his eyes are whited out. I don't remember Kingo ever having that in the movie when he was using his powers, but maybe I'm misremembering. Let me know down below. Overall though, yes, this figure does it for me. He's not perfect, he does have some of the flaws that other Figuarts releases have had recently, but in my opinion, this guy is still the strongest in the wave. Now for a quick side-by-side comparison, here we have the 3 Eternals figures released by Figuarts to date, standing side by side. Now this is one of those situations where I feel they're greater than the sum of their parts. The line makes even more sense when you bring them all together. Now I'm still hoping, and I've mentioned this before, that Figuarts goes ahead and releases the rest of the team. They do have a fair few more to go, 7 to be precise, but I do think that if you brought them all together, this set would look even better. But for now, just with these 3, I personally am still fairly happy. Just going over articulation. Now bear in mind this is my personal copy of the figure, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful. I'm sure when you get yours in hand, you can push the joints slightly further than I'm willing to go. Now starting off with the head sculpt, there's a ball joint at the base of the head and another at the base of the neck. So going forward to there, going back to there, swivel, and then a ton of pivot side to side. The arms go up to there, they go forward and back. You have a butterfly joint at the shoulder that gets you a fairly significant range, a double bend at the elbow, and unfortunately no swivel. You do have a regular Figuarts size wrist peg. As for the torso, you get pretty much all of your range out of this upper joint. You do have forward and back, swivel, and pivot side to side. I believe there is another one up underneath all of this rubbery plastic, but because it's there and because of the way it's done, you don't really have access to that range. The legs themselves will go forward to there, they will go out to there. You have a little bit of swivel, a double bend at the knee, a hinge and swivel down here for the ankle, plus some toe articulation. Just wrapping up on Figuarts Kingo. Now going into this, I already had a pretty good idea of what to expect. I've already reviewed Icarus and I've already reviewed Cersei. And while I liked those figures, I didn't love them. They weren't perfect, and most of the flaws that I discussed in those reviews can be copy and pasted onto this guy. There is a lack of surface detail and a lack of surface texture, plus a lack of washes, and for some reason his face comes off across a little bit shiny. But other than that, if you can get around those things, he's still a darn good, highly posable representation of Kumail as Kingo. I personally am fairly happy. This guy is my favourite of the 3 Figuarts Eternals releases, and I think it's for good reason. He comes with an awesome effect piece, his head sculpts are spot on, and the paint applications, even though there aren't a ton of them, are very crisply applied. Plus, I love the purple, it's very vibrant and it plays perfectly off the gunmetal, the silver and the gold of the rest of the suit. Now if you are looking to pick this guy up, he is available from toyswonderland.com. Link for that is of course down in the description below. They have 12-month installment plans and an awesome reward system. While you're down there, check out the link to 6 Scale Network, the Facebook group. Come along, chat figures, share photos of your collection, and of course, see what's coming up next on the channel. Like, comment and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.